Alright, let's talk about Disney's Robin Hood. This is, it's an animated adaptation based on Robin Hood. This isn't the first Robin Hood movie that Disney made. There was a live action movie like 20 years earlier, but I don't know how many people really know about that one. But either way, this is this I think some people have mentioned that this is probably the movie that has introduced the most people to the Robin Hood legends. Um, kind of the gimmick of the movie is that like all of the characters are anthropomorphic animals. Robin Hood's a fox, Lil Jon's a bear, um, and all that good stuff. Anyway, the story is kind of your typical Robin Hood story. It's about him stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, that good stuff. Um, he's got to face off with the corrupt Prince John and the sheriff of Nottingham, and yeah, I think some of the characters are kind of added to this version because I don't think there's a Sir Hiss in the Robin Hood lore, but I guess they wanted more fun animations with Snake, and Lady Cluck, and yeah. At least I don't think they were in the old Robin Hood stories anyway. Let's see. I guess for actors, a lot of these actors were big, but they're not. It's not like modern people are gonna really know most of them. You know, we got Phil Harris's Little John. It's third Disney movie in a row to have him in it because first he was Baloo, and then he voiced the what's his name from Aristocats. Um, but yeah, I guess it figures since you know Little John is like basically a reskin of Baloo anyway. They even reuse a lot of Blue's animations for him, so I guess it only makes sense to just give him the same voice actor. Um, but yeah, who else? Um, again, Sir Hiss is like kind of a reskin of Kaa from Jungle Book, and yeah, but this time instead of what's his name, Sterling Holloway, they got Terry Thomas. I talked about him a little before in my review of what was it, Willie McBean and his Magic Machine. He did the voice of like one of the salesmen or one of the dudes who built the invisible clothes for the Emperor's New Clothes story. Um, and yeah, he's notable for like the gap in his tooth. It does kind of create a bit of a lispy sound. So yeah, I'd probably say next to Sterling Holloway, he probably makes the best Snake voice actor. So yeah, definitely interesting voice, or casting choice. Um, I don't know a whole lot about the voice of, or Peter Ustinov. He voices Prince John as well as King Richard. Apparently, he was a pretty big actor. I did watch the movie Spartacus once, not too long ago, and I did recognize his voice. He's like he's a slave owner or something. I forget what he was. I'd have to watch that movie again, but yeah, he was apparently a really big actor at the time, and yeah, you probably hear his voice in various works. Um, but yeah, um, and yeah, he does a great job as like the sniveling, whiny, you know, corrupt monarch. Um, that's yeah, that's it's kind of interesting when like with all these Disney villains that are like, they're well, they're powerful through their positions, but otherwise they're kind of goofy and maybe pathetic in a way. Well, I would compare him to like, the Queen of Hearts and Captain Hook, but well, nah, honestly, both of those characters would beat the crap out of Prince John. Um, Besides, both of them can be threatening when they want to be. Prince John, not so much, but well, he does do some things that create some major problems, and so he still makes an effective bad guy. And then we got what's his name, Pat Buttram. He's back again after Aristocats. He voices Sheriff of Nottingham. And yeah, he's an effective villain as well, because like I like how he like has this like friendly demeanor, like he's he usually acts relatively cheerful when he's like going into people's houses and like taking money from like he hits a guy's cast, this dude with a broken leg, and takes money out of it. He steals money from a little kid who got it for his birthday. He tries to steal from a blind man who turns out to be Robin Hood in disguise, but still. And then near the end, he steals out of like a donation box at a church. Yeah, he's like real piece of work. And I just love how he's just acting all nice about it. He's just, why, hello there, I'm gonna just take your money there, and yeah, that's like, yeah, that's somebody who you'd want to punch in the face, and yeah, he does get beat around a couple times by some of the characters. He does get, yeah, he does take a couple hits from, Little John, Lady Cluck, Friar Tuck. But yeah, he can still be pretty threatening when he wants to be. So yeah, but yeah, he's also funny and. So yeah, I talked about the villains. They're probably the most memorable characters in the movie. But yeah, they're still. Little John is of course likable. Kind of in the same way that all of Phil Harris's other characters are likable. He does essentially come off as blue in, in a new setting, but, this time he's not exactly the most quirky character in the movie, so, yeah, I guess he just kind of takes a backseat this time, but yeah, it's still Phil Harris. Phil Harris is always entertaining in these movies. And yeah, we got, I guess Lady Cluck has some enjoyable moments. And Friar Tuck is likable enough. Alana Dale, however you pronounce it, he's a likable narrator. But yeah, Robin Hood himself, he's all right. He's kind of your typical cocky hero type. you know, and then Maid Marian's kind of a boring love interest, but whatever. She's not bad. Um, and who else is there in here? Um, I guess those are all of the big ones. I guess there's also the two vultures that work for the sheriff. Yeah, they got some pretty funny gags. One of them's got the uh, 5 o'clock and all's well joke, and then the other one's got old Bessie. It's probably my favorite joke in the movie. Old Bessie. The safety's the safety's on old Bessie, and yeah, we got the crossbow goes off and the arrows flying all over the place. That's a fun joke. Um, and then I like the joke later when the sheriff's like, "Is the safety on, old Bessie?" And then he's like, "You bet, sheriff." And he's like, "That's what I'm afraid of." Yeah. Um, let's see. And yeah, there's some nice slapstick here and there, and also some nice action. They're kind of like a combination of action and slapstick. So yeah, the main highlights are the big brawl after the bow and arrow archery tournament, as well as the climax. Uh, let's see. But yeah, it's trying to knock out as many points as I can. We got some pretty memorable songs. Well, I mean, there's only a couple of them. Actually, the opening whistling song has a little clip in it that ends up, or yeah, it's called "Whistle Stop." Um, yeah, it's got a little sample in it that was used in that hamster dance video. Yeah, this is where it came from, and I will admit the hamster dance entertains me more than it should, but yeah, Oo-de-lally is yeah, I guess some of the songs are pretty memorable. Phony King of England is probably the best one. Um, and yeah, I also like Not Nottingham. Uh, and yeah, the rest of them are fine in their own ways. Um, so the animation is a little flawed. I mean, it has its moments. But I think from what I understand, a lot of the animations are taken straight from other Disney movies. Like, there's a pretty notorious shot of like Maid Marian dancing, and it's like ripped straight from Snow White, the scene where she's dancing with the dwarves. Um, and yeah, various other stuff. So yeah, there's some technical issues with the movie. I also think there's some choppy editing here and there. Now that I look back on this, um, because I will say, I think this is probably the Disney movie that I watched the most as a kid. Um, Probably the only one that comes close is the original Toy Story, and probably the only thing that kept that from being even more frequent is, I had a couple years of my life to watch this a couple dozen times before that movie even came out. So, yeah. Um, but but yeah, like I seem to be able to. Well, it's not that I could quote it verbatim necessarily, but like almost everything that happens, like I feel like I've watched this movie way too many times for it to feel like any kind of new experience. Um, I do kind of touch upon it in my video where I like count down all the Pixar movies, where I talk about how I've watched the original Toy Story so many times that I can quote it verbatim, and it does kind of take away from the enjoyment because of how many times I've seen it. Um, and yeah, it's kind of the same thing with this movie. And yeah, you look past all the entertaining stuff, it does get kind of cheesy and, kind of kiddie stuff. But yeah, I still like this movie for what it is. I mean, is there much else to talk about? I can't find anything. I can't think of anything at the moment that I need to talk about. But yeah, for what the movie is, I do enjoy it. It's definitely not as good as I may have remembered. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a great movie by any means, but it's still fun. It's still entertaining. It's a fun little movie to pop in for your kids. Yeah, I might be a little biased because of how much I grew up with this movie. Actually, I think it was mostly my sister. She's kind of gone on record saying this is at least arguably her favorite Disney movie, and yeah, I think my brother watched it a lot as well, and yeah, I watched it a lot. So yeah, I mean, I can't name any other Disney movie that I've like watched so many times that I can like remember every little thing that happens like with this movie. Yeah, Toy Story is the only thing I can remember that even comes close. But yeah, I like it. It's fun. It's definitely not perfect, but yeah, yeah, I still like it. So yeah, I'd say 7 out of 10 is appropriate enough for this movie. And yeah, if anything I've talked about here interests you, feel free to check this out. I mean, it might not be for like mature adults, but I don't know, maybe you'll enjoy it. But it's mostly for kids. But yeah, either way, I think this is a good enough movie to just pop in and have a little fun with. So yeah, as usual, if there's anything else I remember that I feel I should talk about, I'll put it in the comments. So until then, I guess that's about it for now. Mash it and smash it, signing off.